Hey, this is John, and from Flint Talk Radio, and obviously we're not in our studio today. I'm sitting down talking to two family members who are involved in this this event, or what do you call this? This organization called Flintopia, and currently we're meeting with them down there at their. Well, I guess it's going to be your headquarters, right?
This is our headquarters building, right?
Yeah, it's on Lewis Street in the corner of Lewis and Broadway.
Yep, right
okay.
on the corner at the traffic light. It's the old appliance. Last 3 years ago, it was an appliance repair, and it was empty for 3 years, and we just took it over in middle of September.
Okay, and I saw the sign go up about that time, and when I was, like I said, I saw it was kind of late at night while I was walking by here, and I didn't want to stop in, and just a couple of days ago, I saw somebody coming in here, so I kind of followed them in, basically, and introduced myself. So, Flintopia, I like the people to know, first of all, that there's a master plan in the city of Flint to return Flint around to vitality, and Flintopia is part of this master plan, correct?
Yes, that's it's basically, we're part of the new master plan that Flint just passed about it's been 4 to 6 weeks ago. We attended all the meetings, in the last meeting when they passed it. I think it's a good plan. Like I tell people, a plan is better than no plan at all. Flint needs something, to try to revitalize it somewhat. So, yeah, we're part of the new master plan, and we're here on the east side, trying to change the tide on the east side.
So now I'm going to ask you to go back a little bit to offer a little bit of a personal bio up. Your name is Eric.
Eric Spielmaker.
And this is your son, also an Eric, right?
Eric Spielmaker.
So do you go by Junior or?
Well, he goes by Mo and I go by EJ.
Okay, so a lot of people don't like the Junior, but it's like.
I'm not technically a junior.
Okay, not technically. You're a third?
Eric James.
Okay, Eric James. Okay.
That goes by EJ. It's easier when the two of us are together.
No, it's like you were actually Eric. I guess for all practical, Eric Senior. Your family, your family actually is established business family in the city, in and around the city of Flint. Yeah,
we have deep roots in the city. We have a family, third generation family-owned business, Spielmaker's Kitchen and Bath. They've moved a couple years ago on Bristol Road, next to the box company over there, Landau.
Okay.
And my grandfather started the business years ago down on Wood in Saginaw. Then my father had it, and I have 5 brothers. There's 5 boys in our family. We're all involved at the business at one point or another. And my 2 younger brothers have had the business probably 25 years on their own now. So third generation family owned, celebrating 67 years in Flint.
So I want to bring that up because a lot of people are very mistrustful of nonprofits and organizations like this going, in Flint, because a lot of people are outsiders, and they're just basically using a season opportunity to try to monopolize on it for themselves, capitalize on it for themselves. And I want to put people's fears or suspicions to rest at that right at the early stage. But anyway, there's a lot of things too that I like about what you're part of the master plan, plus as well as part of what your objectives and goals are. You're part of this encouraging urban farming, correct? This is going to be one of these things that one of these organizations is going to be encouraging that and also helping people, assisting them in engaging that kind of stuff, right?
Use the term urban farming. Now, here at Flintopia, we're always really careful about putting ourselves into a box or a category because we want to remain amorphous as possible and never restrict ourselves and any opportunities available to help make an impact on the community. Urban farming is one of many examples of the things that we're going to do here at Flintopia. It's really the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of places in Flint that are doing urban farming. We're going to do it too. More concerned with permaculture design, which is smart farming developed by the Australians. It's permaculture is a food system that was developed to grow an abundance of food, for example, in forest gardens. Peace Mob Gardens, which is right here on the east side, they have an orchard on Olive and Davison that's pretty young. But our plan basically is to do a lot of similar projects like that. I always tell people, if an old lady from the neighborhood asks me, what is Flintopia? I say, well, we're going to have community gardens and public orchards for people that have free food, which is true. But when someone my age asks what Flintopia is, or someone who's really investigating, I say, we're building an infrastructure to support artists, musicians, and conscious creatives of any kind in order to give them the resources and the avenue to use their talents to make an impact on the community and ultimately on global society. Because we see Flint, Michigan as, you know, this is the end of the industrial era. And so, you know, people can see that as evidenced by Detroit and Flint. This is the end of an era, and we have to turn the Rust Belt into the Green Belt. We have to reinvent ourselves. And I was in the Air Force for 6 years. I was going to go back to school and study sociology. I had a change of heart. I found a school in southeast Iowa, Maharishi University of Management. I studied sustainable living there. And basically, I started with a few students, and I brought them up here to start the organization last summer. And my father became involved, and now he's the day-to-day guy while I go to school. He's fixing up this building, as you can see. Yeah. And we have huge, huge plans for the next 20 years.
No.
And, you know, urban farming comes up because this side, the east side, has so many houses tore down in the last 10 years that they decided to, what they did in some areas of Flint, they've rezoned it. So the east side here, this 30-block area, has been rezoned for urban farming. So I found this building here, and, you know, it's right on the corner of the 30-block area that we're going to be working in, so it's a perfect place for us to be. And they're tearing down, I think, another 160 some houses as we speak. So there's a lot of opportunity here for us, and they rezoned it because there's so much open land. You know, that's part of the master plan and some of the rezoning they did.
So another thing good too, I can see as a benefit too, is having allow for like the urban farming or sustainable, you know, growth. It's you know, sustainable. I get what the term you use. So it's sustainable living. Just draw a blank here, drew a blank. I think one good thing about that, offers a more quite a bit of flexibility. I mean, there's still things that can be centered there now, even though they have the, you know, gardening, they have the people growing things. There's other things that developments are going to be allowed to go on in those kind of settings. So I think that's really crucial, because I think a diversification of the economy is something we never had.
One thing that they mentioned, you know, whenever they talk about the master plan folks, great people, and whenever they would talk about the green innovation zones, they would always say, you know, traditional neighborhoods, green innovation zones. You know, green innovation zones are for green innovation and green business, they weren't even really sure, okay? But that's where we come in, because I am sure, and it includes sustainable housing developments, green businesses, and a redesign of the landscape using permaculture design principles so that the neighborhood is just overflowing with food. It's very easy to do. And when people start seeing what we're doing, the rest of Flint's going to want to copy our example, because we're going to produce free food for everyone in the neighborhood. You know, urban farming, obviously we're going to do that, go to the farmer's market, you know, we can make some money off that, but what I really want to do is grow free orchards for people in the neighborhood. There's all these lots that are opening up, and that's one of the things. You know, one of my friends who helped me come up with a lot of the ideas for Flintopia, he said, you know, David in the Bible had 4,000 musicians, one for every street corner. Now, I don't know if that's true, but when I looked at the Green Innovation Zone, I saw a rectangle, and I did the math, and it would take like 42 people to have one musician on every corner. And I thought, you know, within 3 to 5 years, I'd like to have it where Edible Flint comes to do their tour and can come do our gardens, and at the same time we have an event where people travel, like have a bike ride or a walk around the neighborhood, and we have different performance artists or musicians performing on each corner, and they can go and get free food all over the neighborhood. Each block will have a different orchard, so that way people are encouraged to cross neighborhoods and interact with their neighbors and engage in the community.
Now, you probably know who Russ Bedford is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Democracy.
Okay. I see. I really like. He was we did an interview about a year ago now about that.
Guy.
Yeah, and I mean the heritage seeds, and if people aren't familiar with that, it's the older seed varieties and stuff. It's not so hybrid, so overly, you know, created just to produce.
Right.
There's the stuff, and that's, well, you know, I think that's a good way to go, because on the History Channel, and I brought it up when I was talking to Ross. See, on the History Channel, they had a panel of experts during a series of these shows or so, and they were all advocating for more local production of foods, because it's not a situation as when a crisis is going to intervene with the food supply of the world. It's just a matter of when that's going to occur. And that's definitely just a smart move. I mean, I think we've got overly dependent on getting our food from all over the world.
Right.
Now, another thing is too, I mean, without sounding like, like xenophobic or let's close our borders, But when we're importing a lot of our foodstuffs from all parts of the world, we're relinquishing that much control. We're allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, to foreign influence, not foreign influences, which is we're all part of the foreign influence, but so much for manipulation by political-minded people.
Right.
So I mean, I think that we should have a adequate food supply, more than adequate food supply, to meet our needs.
Right.
And I think there's just a benefit too of keeping these older varieties of fruits and vegetables growing, because I think they're better. I think they're better probably nutritionally.
Well, you mentioned large scale agriculture. So yes, I mean the United States of America has more had more fertile land to farm on than more than its fair share than anywhere else in the world, and it's been almost completely destroyed. 99% of the topsoil in Iowa has been destroyed. You can go through each state and see, Google it and check those stats for yourself. Don't take my word for it. But because of this, prepackaged, manufactured notion of how we get our food. I met a guy at a conference in Iowa, and he said, growing. You want to get that? No. He said, growing up on a farm and going out every day to plow, he said, I knew something was wrong when it smelled like a swimming pool every day. And that's the thing, is that, a lot of these farmers don't work for themselves anymore. They get the seeds directly from Monsanto, and they have, their Roundup ready seeds, and they don't even own their own equipment. They just get a paycheck, and they produce a bunch of low quality corn or soy that's genetically modified, that's usually used to feed cows, and that goes into our beef. And so, the entire food supply, basically all of our food is suspect. And so going back to local food production is one of the most important things that we can ever do. And that's basically what we wanted to do. A woman in the documentary film Urban Roots, which helped inspire this movement, said we want to turn Motown into Growtown. And I think that's a good motto.
So, I see a great deal of benefit from this, because it's not only trying to environmentally sound practices, but also, I think we are suffering a nutritional crisis in this country. I think a large amount of many of our diseases we're dealing with, diabetes, heart disease, stems from a poor nutritional source, and I think that can be alleviated by more local production of these types of foods. So, I really see, but what's really encouraging too is we are actually, I think the Flint area is probably in the perfect position to capitalize on this, because we have adequate water supply most of the years here. We have rainfall plenty. We have the space. Even in this industrialized area, the soil has not been depleted because it's largely light fallow for the most part. There's probably some contamination, but that could be dealt with. I guess there's certain types of mushrooms that can be introduced in brownfields that actually can take away a lot of the contamination,
Right, actually, interesting you mentioned mushrooms. Mushrooms are, one of the problems in Detroit and Flint is the lead in the ground. It's from the lead paint that was on the houses when they were torn down. And what they found is that actually using mushrooms, even though mushrooms can be used to clean up toxic waste, you can propagate mushrooms on toxic waste, they'll clean it, and you can still eat them.
Right.
But they actually will absorb heavy metals and cannot be consumed after that point. That's why we've adopted the sunflower as our showpiece plant, and we aim to plant all the lots that we don't plant gardens on this spring. We aim to plant black-eyed Susans and sunflowers all over the rest of the lots on the east side, because the sunflower is a permaculture god plant, I guess you could say. It has a lot of different functions. It produces seeds. It's beautiful. It raises your spirit. But most importantly, it has a deep taproot, and it goes down in the soil, breaks up compaction, and will suck out all the heavy metal. We can harvest them. We won't be able to eat them the first time, but we can harvest them, dispose of them properly, and then have clean ground to plant on next season. Can you imagine if, when the day comes that people can drive through the east side and there's sunflowers everywhere?
See, I would be preferable than seeing burn out shells of buildings.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But another thing too, after the first crop of them is grown and the stuff that's negative is removed, a lot of them will be food for some different types of wildlife too. Let's face it, you harvest them, but you're still going to let a few get out. Right. They're going to be. There's also going to be volunteers, what they call volunteers.
Right.
So that helps the wildlife. There's deer walking through Whaley Park, and I've seen it more than once.
Yeah.
So this was really encouraging too. You know, like my friend says, they keep on tearing the buildings down around here. They can always say that if you want to buy a house in Flint, it's in a park-like setting. But I think he was he said it in jest, but I think it's like I think that's if you make that kind of imagery rather than this, you know, this concrete jungle filled full of violence, it's much more attractive.
Exactly.
So, but anyway, now Flintopia, you got like how long of a plan are you guys looking down the road for?
Well, the master plan is a 20-year plan. Okay, we're not here for 1 year or one summer to grow gardens. We're in this for the long haul, 20 years. And that's why we purchased, you know, our own building. We're serious about what we're doing. And the master plan is a 20-year plan. So, you know, we intend is, you know, as long as God blesses us to be here that long. And, you know, when I'm gone, my son will be here and he'll continue. I know he'll continue. By then, we'll have, you know, things will be really good for us. And so, yeah, it's a 20-year plan.
So it's like, and another this current building we're in now, that you're renovating right now, is going to be like the headquarters for, and then you also have any plans for other places down the road, correct? Not in the future.
Right. Basically, the idea is to, as I said, green businesses, sustainable housing developments, and landscape redesign using permaculture design principles. So, you know, the most important thing to me is that everything is socially conscious. I always say the Flintopia promise, or Holy Trinity, is food, water, and shelter. Our plan is to build 100% sustainable houses in the neighborhood, and at the same time taking, eventually having a team of people that go through and just retrofit all the houses in the neighborhood to be 100% sustainable. There's no reason anyone should pay for electricity when solar panels cost less than $1 a watt. Okay?
Yeah.
The installation cost is what it gets everyone. And so I don't, you know, food, water, and shelter. If you have food, water, shelter, and a passion, you want for nothing. And I have that. You know, I have clean food, water, and shelter, and a lot of people don't have that. I mean, a lot of people in Flint don't have that. And a lot of people don't even have access to the information that tells them what clean food is. Mm-hmm. You can't even go to the grocery store, and most people think there's no difference between organic and the other stuff. Okay? But the truth is that they just can't afford organic. Who can? I mean, most people can't. And so we're going to plant so much food around here that no one's going to be able to eat it all. It's not that hard to do. With no-till farming, permaculture techniques, and these businesses, I'm going to take these businesses and reinvest in the community. Pay the people good wages, and there's no reason that, because now that we've been in town, we've been talking to people who own businesses and want to sell and do different things. And the thing that they don't seem to understand is that we're not in it for the money. They always want to talk about it as if it's a business deal. If it's something that can basically propel us into doing this thing for the community, because this is a community service organization, basically. That's what we do. Our plan is to revitalize this neighborhood, and slowly, when people there's tons of other organizations in Flint that are doing similar things, but none, I think, that have the same broad scope that Flintopia does. Because once we work on the east side in the next 10 years, people are going to start seeing what we're doing, because they're going to anyone can come in here and talk about it, but once they see it, they're going to say, wow, how do we do this? And then I'll go around and show everyone, if they want to copy it, to the food systems, the design systems, food forests. You walk through it. Imagine if you walk through a forest and everything was edible. I mean, at the very least, it'll cut people's grocery bills right in half.
I think it's true. It's like you're bringing up an interesting point that's got me to thinking, too. It's like food, water, shelter. I mean, those are basic, essential human needs. And the problem is we have a tendency to crowd all those out with the other stuff we think is necessary. Yeah. Like, let's face it, we all have cell phones. I mean, that costs. Just think how better of a lifestyle you could live on much less money coming in, but you have all these things you're talking about, the basic essentials. Right. And those things are no longer a concern, or you don't concern yourself as much. That makes any place, I don't care if it's a middle place, especially a place where you can't attract large-scale industry anymore, that makes it more attractive to live there, because you basically don't have to have the high-paying jobs to have the same standard of living.
Right. Yeah, my father's been in business for many, many years. Our family's been in business. We've lived high on the hog. I was a sergeant in the Air Force I was in there for 6 years. At the end of my career, I made good money, and I found quickly that, once you have extra money, what do you do with it? Well, you go out and you buy stuff.
Right.
What do you buy? Cars and clothes, and I don't know. You go out and you go to the movies. I just felt like it was a tremendous waste of my time and energy. There's so many people who don't have any of this stuff, and yet we just, ever since I was a
More and more and more.
yeah, more and more
Yeah.
and more. And you know, ever since you're a kid, you live in a supposedly Christian country, and no one lives like that. No one lives as if they always preach. Since I was a kid, they always preach about how we should live, and no one does it. And so we want to do that. We want to live basically an example
Lead
of life.
by example.
Yeah. So we just want. There's so many people that need food.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what my son's done for me by coming up with this idea through the Detroit program is he's given me, I'm so passionate about something in my life now. You know, I went through life like everyone else. Go to school, get out, you know, have a career or, you know, work a job or whatever, and most people are not happy doing that. A lot of people won't admit it, but it's true. A lot of people, there's no passion there, you know, and I wasn't sure really what that was, but then, you know, it just happened here. And to me, you know, I'm in my 50s now, so for me, for this to happen in my life right now is just a blessing, you know what I mean? To really know, to feel passion for something and not worry about money, you know what I mean? I'm more passionate about Flintopia and what we're going to do here. I got food, you know, shelter, water, that's all I need, you know?
See, I think that's a refocusing. I think that's a lot of times, like they talk about the great, you know, the people who went through the Depression and how they became very frugal and they lived life simply. And basically, we're in the kind of the throes of that ourselves
Yeah,
right
we
now.
got to get back to those days, you know, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's what we're going to accomplish here,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, victory gardens is something that people used, I think, in World War I or
Two.
Yeah, two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a basic permaculture technique that anyone can Google. It's called victory farms. Yeah. But we plan to put chicken, you know, same kind of chicken tractor systems in here too. It's all no-till. It's all easy. Anyone can do it once they see it. I mean, you know, I hear people say, "Oh, I can't homestead my property. I can't grow enough food to feed myself. I don't know how to do any of that stuff." I have a video that's 10 minutes long that has a 96-year-old woman, and she lives in a homestead, and she said once a month she goes to the store to get a light bulb, but other than that, she doesn't need anything. We can produce everything we need right here.
How cool is that?
That'd be cool because especially when we look at a growing deficit with trade imbalances and all this stuff.
It's
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, it's just, we are a very materialistic culture. And I mean, I'm not like one person who wants to grow my hair long and go barefoot and live in the woods somewhere. I'm not like that. I mean,
Yeah.
but I think we do have my major vice actually is books. I mean, that's what I probably spend too much money on that. But if there's more available bookstores that are used bookstores, I would save money that way.
Yeah.
But no, I think there's a lot of truth in what you're talking about. I mean, besides, I do see it's like it's just simply a way of being realistic. I mean, it's like anybody who expects to attract large-scale corporations once again in this area and, you know, have lightning strike twice is very naive. Because
right, exactly. The whole point is to basically get in here and do this over the next 10 to 20 years. That way, by the time Starbucks and Walmart gets bright ideas and wants to come back in, they won't be able to.
Right.
Because I want to create a bunch of locally run businesses by people hopefully right from the neighborhood, but certainly from Flint.
Mom and pops.
And mom and pops
you know,
that will keep
we got to
that-
bring them back.
Yeah, good old-fashioned customer service. People get decent wages. They have, you know, they're happy and fulfilled emotionally. You know what I mean?
They
Just-
know what they're buying. They're
Right.
buying from
Yes.
people they know.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
socially, you know, we want to develop a socially conscious brand. How do you say? Not a brand, but a stamp almost of approval. Because you know, what is the truly? When you want to buy a new product, for example, what is the standard?
Right.
To me, the standard is that it's clean. Okay, that you're not poisoning yourself, and that no one was exploited to get it. And the thing is, most of the things that we consume as Americans, someone else has been exploited, you know, in order for us to have that item.
Right.
And because there's a disconnect between where we receive our goods and services from, and we accept that as a way of life, and just choose to be blind to basically how we affect the world. I mean, as Americans, we have more responsibility than anyone else for the state of the world, and yet we're too concerned with our iPhones.
Right.
And which are made in factories, you know, Foxconn factories with Chinese exploited workers, you know.
Right.
Same with our clothing, same with our shoes, same with our food. And so how long is this going to go on?
See-
You know, the paradigm shift is occurring now. There's a rise in populism, and there's movements happening all over the country, all over Flint, all over the country. You know, we have 3 tiers of the revolution. The green revolution, which is saving the planet. It's got about 3 generations left. Everyone knows that one, okay? The fracking that's taking place, people in North Dakota can turn their water on in their sink and light it, and it'll catch fire from fracking, okay? Then you have the information revolution, which is the NSA spying on us. Monsanto Biotech Corporation is trying to patent all of our seeds. there's fluoride in our water. The government's lying to us. All this stuff. I mean, we've always known the government's lying to us, but now, I mean, it's just we're discovering.
You can't hide anymore.
Google this. 2 days ago, I found out there was 8 presidents before George Washington. You know, Prince, the singer, said that. He said, when I found out there was 8 presidents before George Washington, I wanted to slap somebody. You know, because whoever writes the history books, you know, that they give us this stuff. So where we get our information from? Fox News, CNN, ABC, CBS. People act like Fox News or CNN, you know, whatever political party they're affiliated with, that they say, okay, so if I'm left, Fox is the devil. If I'm right, CNN's the devil. They're both propaganda campaigns.
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean? And so we have to start being smart about where we get our information from.
That's why we have Flint Talk Radio. I mean,
Yeah.
basically it's like,
love it.
you know, well, another thing is too, we go from, I mean, I think somebody posted a meme on Facebook a couple weeks ago, and I really liked it, and I placed it on my wall myself. It said, and sometimes, I mean, to some friends, a group of my friends, I sound like a liberal, and to some of them, I sound like this right-wing conservative. But basically, I'm a libertarian politically because I believe you got to start basically assuming responsibility of your life and embracing your liberty, because somebody else will take it for you, and they got a reason why they want to control you,
Yeah.
and you're not going to like that end. Yeah.
People, you know, and like you said, whenever you speak, that's people's. That is their natural inclination, is to categorize you based on the two-party system.
Right.
It's a false dichotomy. It's created in order to, you know, the only place these people differ is on social issues. In terms of policy, foreign policy, how how we spend our money. They're all on the same team, and they always have been.
Right.
It's an illusion to make it look like, you know, we have a choice. It's the illusion of choice. And so, you know, this is unacceptable. And anyone who can basically, you know.
Yes, the east side of Flint.
Which goes by here.
The other day I was talking to someone, and I was looking at a jug of water that they had bought, and I was looking at what was in it. And they said, you know, we were talking about how there's fluoride in the water, and if you Google and read about fluoride and what it does to you, even small amounts, and this person said to me, oh, well, you know, they can put anything in the water. There's no way you can know that. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, this is the kind of same thing I've heard over and over again over the years, is that people basically, when you tell them something about, they refuse, they ignore it. They act like they have no control over it, because they feel like they have no control over it. But we need to be outraged. You know, people need to be outraged at the fact that we're being fed poison.
Right.
We're being fed poison, we're being lied to, and for us to put up with this, you know, if you listen to Chomsky's lectures and stuff, and I sound like of course here I am categorizing, if people are going to listen to this, they're going to categorize me as a leftist. I mean, I've been independent for a long time, you know what I mean? But, you know, Chomsky talks about the propaganda and mind control techniques that they use on us. The 1930s, the strikes, Flint's significant for that. The war on the working class, which has been going on forever. It's a very conscious war. The business class knows it. They see us as peon indentured servants, and they want to keep us in wage slave jobs so that we have to pay our lighting bills, when no one should have to pay for a lighting bill when you have solar technology. They hold back all that stuff and keep us dependent on oil so they can make money.
Right.
Forget that. We need to say no to them and start making our own system.
I wonder what's going on. Anyway, because right where we're sitting at, right in front of here this place, there used to be a trolley car that went right through the, you know, the track was right in the middle of the street.
I've heard that.
And when the city, the GM bought that company up and dismantled it because they didn't want you to have public transportation available to you.
Yeah.
Now in the city where you're making vehicles to ship all over the planet, you know,
Yeah.
well back then
Good
all over the
point.
United States, but
Good point.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
yeah. So anyway, I'm definitely know this is just the tip of the iceberg, and I'm definitely going to be checking back with you and how your stages of development on this, and you keep me posted. And when you want to come in too, we can also do more. We can also put up like in the studio. We can actually do like a slideshow if you want to put in some, bring in some slides about sustainable living and
We'd like to talk about how people can help and how they can get involved with Flintopia.
Now
There's several ways of doing that.
Facebook.com. If you Google Flintopia and click the first link, it's our Facebook page, facebook.com/Flintopia. We also have a WordPress blog, and we have a GoFundMe, GoFundMe. If you Google GoFundMe or GoFundMe.com and look up Flintopia, we have a campaign to raise money for our project. So those are the ways you can help us. Also, we accept donations. We just got our 501c3, which is our nonprofit status, so we can officially write receipts for people. If they donate something, they can write it off on their taxes.
And as far as donations go, we don't really take clothing, but we take anything else that you would send to Goodwill or Salvation Army. You can drop it off here, or you can call us.
407-7927, 407-7927.
And that's
you
area
can
code
also
810.
call 810-513-4626. That's my personal cell. And we'll come out and gather the things from your home too. We do pickups, but we, you know, we don't get any funding. You know, a lot of these projects are getting funding through like Mott Foundation, Ruth Mott Foundation, and you know, we may go that route. We may have to go that route, but we'd like to fund our own organization here.
We spent over $40,000 since this project started.
Of our own money.
Yeah, of our own money, and so we never want to be at the mercy of the grant institutions, because we're here to do good, whether or not we can get funding. I mean, there's so many things we can do, and we intend to do just that.
That's right.
But anyone out there that's, you know, that could help us get funding, we sure would appreciate.
We always appreciate any help we
give
can
us,
get. Yeah.
you know, give us a call.
Okay, well, thank you guys for your time there, and good luck here. And I live down the street from here, so I'll be checking with you guys periodically. You got my contact information. Contact me anytime soon. And my thanks again.
Yes, thank you.